Anyway, so I can actually do what they say they're doing and train a model if I could find a large enough data set that is open, so that was meant for this.
Right.
This is the kind of thing.
I think that's the other challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but there are data sets like that. Those exist. You could use those, but it wouldn't give you the homegrown hallucinations you're used to with the Gemini, you know? Coming up in this episode, Wayland is inevitable. RAM is now unobtanium, and a Linux user space OS. Welcome to Linux User Space. I'm Leo.
And I'm Dan.
Dan, Wayland, it's inevitable. What do you mean?
I mean, I think I want to start off with this one and say, we told you so?
We actually did. And Dan was kind enough to go dig it all up. Turns out we said this on October 2nd, 2023, Season 4, Episode 5. We told you to just jump on the Wayland train. It's time. It's time for you to be on the Wayland train. So get on the Wayland train.
Absolutely. And so KDE Plasma, it's going all in on the Wayland. They're going to drop X11 and make it its own thing. It'll still sort of be supported for a while until 2032 or something like that, which is a ways out there, but
right. And so that's like if you're using one of the long-term support releases that are shipping an old Plasma that does indeed still support X11, but by 2027, Plasma's just, if you're on a rolling release history, if you're on a Fedora, if you're on an Arch, if you're on any
or a newer interim release or any of those things, just forget about it. It's not going to be there.
You're not going to have X11 Plasma session. It's just not going to exist. So if you're running on Gnome, then unless you're on an LTS, you already have felt the move. Gnome has already dropped support for Wayland, and all of the new stuff is already on the new Gnomes that don't support X11. So your games and your desktops and your browsers and your everything else, they're either running on the native Wayland session or through X Wayland. And if you're getting along on your Gnome side, on the Gnome side, I think you're going to be just fine on the Plasma side too. I think most of the applications are there. I think you get to, maybe when it comes to like gaming or something like that, we're splitting hairs with X11 might give you a little bit more performance or something like that than a Wayland session might.
I feel like they're solving those problems though too, obviously. And Leo brought this up in the notes here because gaming's all in on Plasma, right? So they've got to solve these problems. They aren't going to jump into something that isn't going to work well. It just, they're going to fix the bugs. They're going to fix the problems. And they really can only do that if people are using and testing these things. So, I think we're there now. We've hit critical mass where just about everything is supported. I know Leo's been running Wayland for a while, and I've personally been running Wayland. I haven't looked back almost after we did that episode in 2023. So we're almost 2 years in, and I haven't really felt the burn of, that could have worked if I had X11. I haven't felt that way, so I'm not sure what people are talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I play a lot of games on Wayland. And
I know screen capturing and recording and all that stuff. We do that every episode here.
Yeah.
So that works pretty great too.
Yeah, this my backup camera right here, this one that I'm pointing at. Not that one. This one.
Yeah, not this one, but this one over here.
Yeah, we got backups on backups on backups. We felt that one time. But
right.
Yeah, I mean it feeds straight into OBS, which feeds into Linux, which feeds into a MKV file, which serves as my backup, right? So that definitely works. I know there's some paper cut issues here and there, but again, as Dan was talking about, I think it is in Valve's best interest to go ahead and fix or help fix, fund fixes for those types of things, because that's where I'm playing most of my Wayland games is on top of Steam, on top of Linux, and on my Steam Deck. I've been playing a whole heck of a lot of Pal World lately, and it's on top of Wayland. It's all on top of Wayland.
Of course,
using Proton and all of that other kind of fun stuff. But that I think is a very important distinction to make, to have, to note, is that what was it? How many people? It was, I had the number here. Steam Decks sold, this is from TechSpot, Steam Decks sold are about 3 million. And if you're being ungenerous, that means saying, about half of them are either inactive or people that have, put a different operating system on them or whatever. That's still 1.5 million. And that was a report in February. So
that's just Steam Decks. That's not even other handheld gaming devices that are out there that may or may not be running Linux. Yeah,
exactly. But one of the interesting, I guess, stats that might fly under the radar there is that also means 1.5 million active installations of KDE Plasma.
Yeah.
So of course you're using Wayland because it's on a more modern Wayland desktop, but you're also using Plasma. So does that make Plasma the most used Linux desktop? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, it might be. I don't know. I guess we don't have great metrics on some of those things, right? But
we don't really like telemetry in this neck of the woods. we don't take kindly to telemetry around here,
right? I mean, we know there's a lot of installs of Ubuntu and Fedora and those, the workstation of Fedora and the main install of
and that's
Ubuntu.
A lot of Gnome.
They're all Gnome. They're all in on Gnome. But there's a lot of Plasma out there too. So
exactly.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, so here's another stat to stick in your hat. Bazite the other day just announced that they've served up over 1 petabyte of ISOs, and that's a lot of ISOs. I don't know the math on that, but that's millions, I'm sure, right? Surely,
it seems like.
Being super ungenerous, right? Only 10% of those are still active,
legit,
right?
Yeah.
And that's still an absolute metric ton of, because a metric ton is more than an imperial ton? I think so, something like that. But anyway,
I think you're right, yeah.
Even more, the day Bazite posted that, 24 hours later, that stat went from 1 petabyte to 1.5 petabytes. What is that? That's 500 terabytes more transferred.
Yeah.
And the quote was something like, that wasn't a challenge. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. But
that's okay. Challenge accepted. We gotcha.
That's it, right? So yeah, everybody took that as a challenge. They took that personally. They went and downloaded it a few million more times, I guess.
Which is awesome. And so there's a lot of Plasma out there.
Yeah.
Like we said, Bazite, their primary thing is Plasma, right? So,
exactly. Yeah, that was the subtext there that I didn't explicitly say, is that Bazite runs on Plasma. That's where the M came from. So tons and tons and tons, and it's just growing every single day. So if Plasma isn't the most used Linux desktop in the world, it's probably catching up real fast.
It's high. It's high. It's at least equivalent, if not higher, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would see I think these are the little telemetries I think that maybe we need to be okay with so that we can flaunt numbers in front of anybody else, right? Like we just had not just now, I think it was sometime last month,
Well,
Zorin.
the Steam. Oh yeah, right. That yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like just generally, right? Zorin put out that they had it was over 1 million downloads since the Windows 11 or Windows 10 end of life date, right? And that's a short amount of time, maybe about a month or something. And
yeah, they're breaking records too. Yeah,
they saw 1 million downloads, and while that's not Plasma, it is still Linux in general. And I think that kind of stuff, right? Basic telemetry that's not personally identifiable or anything like that. Those are, I think, the kinds of telemetry that I think we might need to be okay with, so that we can have these numbers, so that you can go to people like Tim Sweeney from Epic and say, no, there are millions of us, and a fraction of us will buy Ninja Turtles on Fortnite, okay?
Well, and like Steam does the survey thing, and that's very opt-in, and you are on your own to report that. And those numbers keep going up though, as far as Linux installs, right?
Right. The trend is clear. Yeah.
It is going in that direction, and I think the latest one, yet again, it's higher than it's ever been. So
absolutely. So it's
I think
a great
all
time.
of these things are pointing that direction.
Oh yeah. I think we all knew it in our guts that Linux was happening more and more. I mean, more people in the community, more people on the Reddit, more people showing up in Lemmy. I thought that was, and there was actually a complaint. It was months ago, but there was a complaint on Lemmy when we were posting our news that like, how come more of this isn't Linux? And I was like, well, it's Linux and tech news, so it's adjacent, but. Right, there's a hunger for a lot more Linux stuff, and I don't think it's just the diehard Linux folks like maybe me and Dan. No. I think the net, the entire thing is getting wider and wider and wider, and we're seeing a whole lot more people that we have never seen before, and I think it's really cool.
I think there's a couple of reasons for it, though, Leo. I think things are working better than they ever have. There's more compatibility. There's less, so that means there's less friction to move away once you try something. So that's a big thing. The other thing is, you touched on it earlier, Windows 10 to 11 transition was harsh for people. They didn't want to have to go buy a new machine just because they didn't have the right TPM chip or whatever. I mean, the machines are still fully capable of running all of this stuff, and then they try Linux, and it actually works for their use case, so they're not turning away. So, like, those two things play on each other a little bit, and I think a lot of that is explaining why it's just going to be more and more accepted and utilized.
Listen,
that's my thoughts.
I've got the perfect use case, and I know someone listening may not be on Linux. Maybe they're on the fence, but the only thing they ever actually do is web browsing and solitaire.
Oh, well, geez.
Linux is the place for you, man.
Linux will do it, no problemo. Yep.
But I mean, it's much more than that. I mean, Kden Live works great. So I mean, my entire workflow for editing the video and dealing with the audio and putting it together and rendering it out. Which, by the way, my new video card. There is a VA API thing that's built into Kden Live, so I can use the brand new video card to actually do some of the rendering on that, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, speeds it up.
Right, but I think there's a ton of use cases that Linux now fills the void of. So it's a lot less painful now to get away from Windows.
Things are easier and less painful. Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
So Wayland is there. It's fantastic. It's good. Try it out if you haven't. If you're one of the X11 holdouts, just give it a shot. Give it another go. You know it's changing all the time. the thing that you're complaining about may actually have been fixed. I know not everything is fixed, and not everything will be fixed because Wayland said no, but it might just be the ticket. And eventually, unless you really truly do plan on sticking around with a long-term support release or a desktop that fully supports X11, you might not have a choice.
It's gonna go, and they're not the so Gnome and Plasma, they're not the only two desktop environments in town. And you've heard us talking about Cosmic. That's going to be all Wayland.
Wayland-only, yeah. They were always Wayland-only.
They never strayed away from that. LXQ, which is another one that I love. They're really focusing on Wayland-only for the most part. They still support X11, much like the KDE folks, but they're really kind of trying to focus on just doing Wayland as well. And there's others too that are definitely moving in that direction. So I know XFCE, even that, which is sometimes considered old and stale and not moving, they're working on Wayland too, and Cinnamon, in Linux Mint, they've got experimental Wayland sessions. So it's happening. It's happening all around all the desktop environments. It's the trend. So at some point you'll have to do it, and you won't have a choice.
Well, yeah, because I mean, over time there is just going to be no more patches for X11. I don't actually see that really coming to pass. Someone will support it somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the security stuff.
Well, there's a fork, and they're trying to push that. But how much attention is it actually getting? And especially the more removed you get from the mainstream, you get less and less, activity, and things really start to fall apart.
I do wonder. I guess we'll have to see how that all goes. But I guess as far as LXQ and because that you might be able to speak to a little more than something like XFCE or whatever. But I don't suppose those desktop environments are looking at anytime soon dropping X support, right?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I think the saving grace for things like LXQ is you have to bring your own window management.
Okay, and that would support,
and so that might support it still. But they're really trying to focus on doing things that at least bug fixes. Focus on the Wayland stuff first, and then maybe they'll get to X11 bugs later because they're trying to be up with the trend. So.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of gotta be, man. That's where the development is going. That's where all the new hotness is happening. It's coming. I mean, well, we said it was coming 2 years ago. It's here.
It's ready. Yeah,
it's been here. It's done been ready. And
I know people have questions. There's a blog post. We're gonna link to it. And it has like a basic fact kind of thing that goes through all of the gotchas that you think you might have probably, and well, maybe not all of them, but it goes through a bunch of them, and
all your questions are probably it's fine. What if I still need? Yeah, what if I still need it? Don't worry, X Wayland's there. You can still run your X application, right? But the one that got me, the one that I didn't actually know still happened was X forwarding still works. That's way cool. So on, I mean, you can do it. Obviously, you can do it on Linux, but you can also do this on Windows.
Yes.
I'm sure you could probably do it on Mac too, but where you can actually push the X application that is running on the Linux machine, right? So you remotely push that application to your Windows or other Linux desktop and interact with it, right? And it's like as if you were interacting with. So it's like remote desktop protocol, right? But just for the app, just for the singular app, which is really cool. And
you can totally do that with an SSH session.
Right, exactly. But that still works. That will still work on the modern Plasma that does not have direct X11 support through something called Waypipe, which is what? Yep. That's way cool, man. That was actually one that I was gonna be sad about after X was gone for good, right? I thought for sure that was something that was never gonna come over, but yeah, and they also mentioned gaming as well. Looks like so sometimes you get some tearing and adaptive sync can be weird or whatever, but it looks like it's all supported out of the box nowadays.
Yeah,
HDR
like,
works as well.
Yeah, and like NVIDIA. I mean, everybody struggles with NVIDIA just in general, but yeah, it's better there too. And you know, the open source Novu driver thing can probably do pretty well for you. And I know there's some others that are being worked on as well. I think it's the Nova, I think is what the name of it is, which is also open source, and it's sort of a fork, if you will, of the Novu ones, I think.
I
don't
need
know.
someone that that speaks French as a first language to tell me how to say that.
I'm probably massacring that.
But yeah, that's actually I very specifically did not buy an NVIDIA card.
Yeah.
For very much those types. I don't want to have to install a driver
Proprietary thing, TKMS modules.
It's not that it's not necessarily that it's proprietary, though. I know that weirds out a lot of people.
Binary blob things splatted down
and
into the kernel.
And I think it's just weird to have to like install a driver in the Linux ecosystem, which is very much that's not how things work. But anyway, right before I ended up buying the video card that I got, I was looking. Gamers Nexus actually did a whole thing on AMD versus NVIDIA, and it looked at because they're doing Linux testing. Another reason why Linux is seriously in the mainstream. Linus Tech Tips just did that interview with Linus Torvalds.
Yep, Linus. The Gamers Nexus. There's been a few of them as of late. Yeah.
And PewDiePie did the whole Linux thing. Yeah, man's got $1 gajillion and all the time in the world, and he decided he wanted to mess around with Linux, which is
cool,
awesome. And Gamers Nexus did a bunch of benchmarking, and consistently, but not all the time, but consistently, NVIDIA would just fall over. So you're talking like the 9070 versus the 50, so AMD 9070 versus the GeForce 5070 or something like that, which are typically trade blows for the most part. You would see the 5070, the NVIDIA card, just be abysmal in some games where you know that it shouldn't be, and on the Windows side, it's not. So you know it's capable of doing better, but the NVIDIA driver that they build for Linux does not work. And they used Bazite for the test bed on this. So it just blows my mind that NVIDIA can be so bad for something like that. So it just solidified my opinion on that I should just go with AMD. And so I did, and I bought one. Before everything went crazy, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. It hurts so much. But anyway, one interesting thing that they note in the FAQ is, what about Plasma on the BSDs? Because historically, BSD has not been very Wayland friendly.
Well, it's like considered the old and crusty, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but looks like FreeBSD actually does have a Wayland session. So
they do.
Maybe.
I actually saw a blog post today from someone that uses FreeBSD, and they said, yeah, it works just fine.
Interesting. So Linux will force FreeSB kicking and screaming into the Wayland future. Interesting. Very interesting. So interesting times we be living in, Dan. And looks like
it is. I'm excited.
I'm just glad to know that 2 years ago we're right. Yeah.
Anyway, if you you want to check back on that old episode and see our face and whatnot, you can do that over on YouTube. Which is where we publish all those things. Probably even have it broke out into a little short segment. Maybe we did that then. I don't remember. That was 2 years ago.
Maybe not.
We might not have. But you can definitely watch the whole episode at linuxuserspace.show/YouTube. And, give us a like and subscribe and all that stuff. And you'll catch the new ones as they come out over there. In addition to that, though, Tilvids is the other place that is, federated, part of the Fediverse, where you can follow along. And we do some video stuff over there, too. And you can follow it in your Mastodon or just anywhere, even just a, RSS reader if that's your jam. All of that stuff is available. And Tilvids is cool because they are edutainment. So they're thankfully, sponsoring us, even though they're not sponsoring us, by hosting our videos. So that's pretty cool. And if you really, really want to sponsor us, Patreon is the place for that. And give us some bank, and we give you some perks.
That is true. Yeah, we just posted the show notes for the second time in Patreon user space, a place that you can only get to if you, at least they're at the $1 tier over on the Patreon. But yeah, the Tilvid seems to like the little shorts that we do. Actually, that was surprising. So I guess we'll just keep on keeping on.
Just keep on, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Patreon. If you're a supporter there, you don't have to pay any money, and you can still be part of the community and still get some of the things. It's a place to follow some of the stuff. But if you do give us some money, you'll get all the goods, and we even give you video access to the entirety of this, including leading up to the show, during the show, and after the show. If all the nonsense, it's all there. You get all of it. You also get a high quality audio recording. And if you pay enough money, you can be like some of our real staunch supporters and actually join here in the studio and watch it live.
That's right. And we talk about a lot of weird stuff before and after the show that is sometimes not show related. And when Bruno comes around, it's always about food. We have decided it's his fault.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So we'll have all those links right there in the show notes.
Would you look at that, Dan? RAM is probably the cheapest that it's been ever in all of its entire history. No, that was a fever dream. It's actually the opposite.
I'll poke you now, and you can wake up, and it's not that. No, it's really bad. Really bad.
I posted an image out on the socials a while ago.
You did,
because I went to the store the other day, and I was walking around the mall, kind of moseyed into a Best Buy, and in the back of my mind, I was like, "Man, I know RAM prices have been going up a little bit," and I'd seen people kind of just talk about like, "Oh man, RAM's going crazy! Wow!" And I was like, "Well, it can't be that bad, right?" And I walk up to the RAM case, half of it's empty, which is weird in the first place, right? And all that's there is like Corsair engines with RGB and Corsair engines without RGB. And I was like, okay, well, it's just the one. And then I squint a little bit, get a little closer to the price thing. $907 for 64 gigs of RAM. $907.
It's crazy. It is absolutely insane.
What, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, that same kit would have cost you what, $250, something like that?
Yeah, maybe even a little less than that. I don't know, right around 200.
Well, this one had all the RGB bells and whistles.
Well,
and it
without
was
the
like,
RGB, probably about 200-ish.
This is insanity.
Yeah,
and
it's nuts.
It looks like everybody's pointing the finger at AI companies that are building out these data centers and then chewing up all of this RAM.
As if AI wasn't bad enough.
Right. Well, AI had already done this to us the first time with graphics cards.
It did.
Right?
It did. Yep.
The 5000 series and the 5000 series NVIDIAs and the 9000 series AMDs, more so the NVIDIA side. But it looks like the gap is closing now. But and then slightly prior to that, graphics cards were just insanely overpriced. And just recently, maybe over the past 30 days or so, these graphics cards have kind of normalized in price, right? So you can actually get a 5070 Ti, maybe even a 5080 on the NVIDIA side, and the 9070, 9070 XT on the AMD side at MSRP, like at the price they promised you could get it at.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's absolutely great. Fantastic. Awesome. And then you turn around 6 days later, it hits MSRP, RAM is gone. So if you're a system builder, you were happy for about a whole 6.5 nanoseconds.
Yeah.
and then you have to put your face in your hands and cry.
Oh yeah, pretty much. And I'll tell you, there's stories of people buying whole systems just to pluck the RAM out of it and put it in, their build.
Because those prices haven't caught up yet to the scalping.
They haven't. And how long until that lasts? It won't be long. Because I know one of the guys at work was looking to build a machine. And he was just kind of waiting a little bit until like Black Friday, really.
Sucker.
To get some better deals, because they always have deals on things on Black Friday. And no, right before that, RAM price is silly. And so now he just said, enough of that. I'm just going to buy a whole machine. I'm not building my own now. I'm not building my own now, he says.
Oh, you're not going to have one at all. The pre-builts are going to go up as well.
Well, they will, but he got it in the 6 nanosecond window that was okay. Right,
oh, wow. Okay, well,
so like he spent $1,000 and you got a machine with 32 gig of RAM in it.
Okay, yeah, because about now, 500 of those dollars is just the RAM.
It's just the RAM, right?
Oh my
exactly.
God.
So like his window was very slim to get that in.
Yeah. So I've tried to keep myself on maybe like a 3 or 4 year kind of cycle for.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do now.
Upgrading, right? And so in 21, I bought a 5800X, AMD 5800X. I know. Hindsight's 2020. It gets a little hot, but that's okay. It's actually really still powerful, and 32 gigs of DDR4 memory, right? And so it's Christmas time. It's time to start thinking about maybe doing a little upgrading or whatever. And nope. So instead of memory, for the same price as 32 gigs of memory, I bought an entire video card instead. So I didn't go without upgrades at all, because GPUs seem to be affordable. Well, I don't know about affordable, but they seem to be sane, at least as far as MSRP is concerned. So I'm stuck now. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not like my 5800X is slow in any way, but 32 gigs of memory is getting a little cramped. Because, running VMs, trying out Winbox, and doing all kinds of weird junk, you need more RAM. So I was looking at doing 64 gigs of RAM, and then that's why I saw $900, and I was like, system build's out of the question right now.
We're done with that. Yep.
What I'm looking at now is maybe going from a 5800X to a 5900X, get 4 more cores at the same speed, right? And that way there's a little bit more I can spread out here and there. And then going from 32 gigs of, I think it's like 3600 megahertz, something or other, G-Skill Trident stuff. So good stuff for AMD anyway, to 64 gigs of slightly slower stuff. I think my processor likes the 3200 megahertz. But going with the Samsung B die, you can still find on eBay like the cream of the crop of memory chips that they made in this generation. And those are, so Samsung made them. They were called B die, and they were just the best of the best memory chips that you could get. They got the lowest cache latencies. I mean, the lowest latencies across the board. They tended to be able to overclock much, much higher than any other RAM that you could find on the market. So buying 3200 megahertz B die really was more like 3400 megahertz B die without breaking a sweat, right? And the memory controllers on the, I know I'm getting really technical now.
You are. That's okay though.
Right, so the memory controllers on these motherboards were actually really, really good, so they could handle the stress of being able to crank them up that high. So anyway, long story short, and I'll bore you a little less now. So instead of going to DDR5 and a new AMD processor, I think I'm going to stay in the in this generation and just see what kind of performance I can squeeze out of really, really good RAM, and just hunker down for a year or two.
I think you're going to have to, because, well, at some point the used market's going to dry up too, because hear me out on this, announced today, the Micron, the manufacturer for Crucial memory, says no more for consumers. No soap for you. They're only going to sell it to, like the people doing the AI data center stuff. They're going to sell it to
Oracle. You've
They're
done
sell
it
To
again.
the big consumers, and not for your traditional consumers. So when that happens, that means supply is nil, and price has only one way to go, and up. And even the used stuff will end up drying up. I think before the end of this.
Yeah, I think
that's my prediction.
So you had Micron was one of the big three. Then you had Samsung and you had SK Hynix. But it looks like SK Hynix has already betrothed their manufacturing for the next couple of years to these AI companies. And I'm going to assume Samsung is going to follow suit. Yeah. So I'm not saying if you're going to buy now, but buy last month. Is what I'm saying. It's technically what I'm saying. You got to get in your time machine. You got to go back a month
miles
or two.
An hour. Go back a month or two.
Exactly.
And do it.
Yep. You need the plutonium though. I don't know how you're going to get that, but
I don't either.
It might be easier to get plutonium than it is to get sane RAM prices. But
say that.
It's not just. So here's the crazy thing, right? Like it would be one thing if it's just RAM, right? Like maybe you could find some used RAM or whatever. And RAM is one of those things that I kind of trust secondhand. Like, if it works, right? Like, if it makes it through MemTest 86, you got some solid RAM,
Unless you overheat it or do something silly to it, zap it with electricity, it's going to hold up.
Exactly. And MemTest 86 will sniff that out. But so it's not just RAM that's going to be hit by this, because the chips, the DRAM chips that you find in RAM, you find in everything else. So
things like SSDs and the
Yes,
NVMe's.
the good SSDs have that little bit of DRAM cache at the beginning of it that make these transfers lightning fast, right? Well, so all of your good SSDs, they're going up in price, and it's also the memory you find in your graphics card. So now this is the one thing that I can say. If you haven't gotten yourself a graphics card and you're on the fence about getting a graphics card, maybe get a graphics card, because that
prices
memory is going up as
right
well.
Now,
yeah. There's that little inverse bell curve thing. We're at the bottom of it right now, and give it a little while, and I bet you those video cards are going to head right back up as well. Asterisk, highlight, this is not financial advice, something. But I mean,
and all of this to go where, like, if you're planning to hold out, I mean, I think Linux is your best choice to get the most performance out of your thing.
Absolutely. You're not chewing up 6 gigs of RAM just so you can open up Edge.
And all your Chrome tabs. Yeah.
So you get to use that chunk of memory for Chrome tabs. Oh man. Man. You know what's really, really funny about this is you go price out a Mac. Okay. So historically, what is the thing besides it being soldered in? Because more and more manufacturers, AMD, are soldering RAM in, right?
So there's a bunch.
Yeah. So that argument is slowly fading away. But what is the other argument about a MacBook that everybody goes with when it's like, well, do I want a Windows machine or do I want a Mac machine? And they're like, well, don't get a Mac, because when you crank up that memory, the prices just are insanity, right? But I mean, at least on the M series platform, it kind of makes sense, because that stuff is soldered on the board.
Right.
And the higher you go, the less they're going to sell. So, of course, there's a bit of a premium. Anyway, I'm not being an Apple apologist here. I'm just saying that's probably why the prices are the way that they are, at least in the current stuff.
It might be.
But it looks like Apple is now the budget choice.
I know. Who thought that was going to happen?
What? So I think one of the things that Apple is going to really win on here is that they're big enough and they order big enough that they command the ability to say, okay, SK Hynix, that amount of production is for us and no one else, period.
Yeah.
So what AI is doing to these manufacturers, Apple can also do to these manufacturers.
Yeah.
So
they're big enough.
they're going to be able to, at least for the most part, sidestep a lot of the pain that us system builders and everybody else are going to feel.
Yeah, and I bet some of the other big manufacturers of PCs can do some of this
Dell.
too. Dell, HP, the really big ones, right? I think they'll probably be able to weather it a little better, which is why people were buying full-on systems in order to pluck the memory out of it, right? So, I mean, I guess if you've got a system with 64 gig and it's 2 sticks, you could pluck one out and you'd have 32 for 2 different systems, I suppose. I mean, it's a way to maximize potentially what you're doing, but it's really for the soldered on stuff. You're not doing that, but I mean,
is this what,
I don't know. It's not good. It's not good.
Is this what we're reduced to, Dan? Is buying Dells to take,
just take
the stuff
the RAM
out,
chips out,
and then we end up with what we used to do back in the day, is just Frankenstein a machine
just
together.
Swap them around. Yeah, I think we might be.
Dude,
how sad is that?
You're getting a Dell.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're old enough to remember that commercial, you're officially old.
Well, I'm there.
Man, I remember those commercials. That was when Dell was kind of cool still. Like back when before they acquired Alienware. Alienware was its own thing. And they actually made pretty reliable systems.
Alienware was pretty great when that first started.
Yeah, actually Alienware was very, you did pay a premium for it or whatever, but it was actually good,
it was good stuff.
And I think it still is generally good stuff,
it's
but
it's
less good than it has been.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the other things I was looking at is maybe doing a monitor upgrade or whatever. Because, when you get yourself a new monitor, maybe a bigger monitor, maybe a higher resolution monitor or something like that, it feels like a new computer. So maybe that's
a good point.
Maybe that's the thing that I do. Hopefully my monitor doesn't have DRAM in it, but probably not. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
But maybe I can get the new computer feel out of a OLED monitor or something.
That's a good idea. I think you're onto something there.
You know what I've been actually looking at is getting an OLED TV for a monitor. So I know years ago, so DisplayPort is still a kind of a point of contention, like if you prefer DisplayPort over HDMI. And a few years ago, there was actually a good reason to prefer DisplayPort over HDMI, right? The amount of colors, the amount of bandwidth, the amount of the stuff that you could do with it. Most of the monitors that only had HDMI didn't have things like FreeSync and G-Sync, but all of those big concerns gone. They're all gone now.
Yeah.
And you have much more selection of an OLED on the TV side than you do on the PC side. So HDMI aside, I'm 99% convinced that might be what I pick up next.
That's
OLED
an interesting take.
TV instead of. It's going to be massive though. They don't really make small TVs. not in like OLED or anything.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I'm on a 32-inch 1440p monitor right now.
Well, that's
and I was looking at
an
OLED 4K, but the smallest I could find a good OLED panel was at 42 inches. That's going to be big, Dan. What am I going to do? Where am I going to put that? Yeah, seriously.
Right there in front of you.
When I first got to a 32, there were yeah, seriously. So there were times on a 32 where I was like, oh, I kind of have to move my neck to be able to, and And then I got a arm so I could push it back. I wonder if I'm gonna have to figure out some other solution for this for a 42-inch if I go
Get
that
another
route.
desk and put it in front of your desk so you can
I'm
sit the
gonna
keyboard
have
and
to.
mouse back further.
Seriously, I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be it's gonna be a journey,
That
man.
sounds like a fun experience.
We'll see.
First world problem to have.
Yeah, it really is. It totally is. And complaining about RAM prices is also very first world. But
That's true.
one of the last thing that I wanted to leave us on was we were talking a little bit about the Steam Deck in the last segment because of Plasma adoption and Linux adoption in general. But one of the other things that that came out newsworthy wise was that Steam machines. So Valve announced a couple of weeks ago the Steam machine and the new, I forget, like the Steam
They got a new controller.
And the new I'm super excited about the controller.
And the Steam Frame, which is the VR goggle things. Yep.
Right. So, and then in addition to the Steam Deck, you're going to have 4 different solutions for different things that all work together very Apple-ish. And this is something that the Linux ecosystem just doesn't have until now.
I know. It's cool.
Super excited about that. But the point I'm trying to make, outside of the fact that I'm fangirling over Valve right now, is that Steam machines were announced without a price.
Right.
And the reason they were announced without a price is because of RAM prices.
Yeah, they had no idea where that was going. Yep.
And the thing with the Steam machines is that the RAM is going to be, as I mentioned before, is happening more and more often, soldered on to the board. And that's, by the way, there's a good reason for it, right? Like
with an appliance like that, I think it makes sense.
And not only that, right? Like it's actually because of the APU, the AMD chip that has the graphics card on the die, needs to have super duper fast RAM, and you can't have super duper fast RAM without it actually being part of the board to be able to communicate faster than your typical DDR5 RAM buses can go. So so Framework is doing the same thing with their Ryzen 300 and all that kind of jazz. And it's because you need super duper fast RAM and you can't do it any other way. So these Steam machines are going to be affected by this RAM pricing.
They sure are.
Craziness. And so while I was thinking Steam machines might debut at about $700, it's going to be more than you might expect. It's going to be more than a PS5. But I didn't think it was going to be astronomical. I thought it was going to.
Yeah, it's hard saying until they announce it.
Yeah, 600 if we're, and these are my guesses, right? Like 600 if we're getting lucky, 700 probably. But with these RAM prices doing what they're doing,
it might be 800.
It's getting closer
900.
to the 4-digit number.
I know. It's
and
hard,
that'll
but
be.
You got to remember, this is a full-blown PC as well, just like a lot of those mini PCs, and some of those get up to that price, too. It's obviously optimized for gaming, but I don't know if that price would scare some people away. It might not.
Well, I mean, they're going for the mid-range market, right? You're not getting a $3,000, well, $5,000 now.
Well, you're not
top of the line gaming machine with this thing or whatever. But I mean, that's actually historically been one of PC gaming's Achilles heel, is that it's a lot more expensive to get into it than it is a console or something like that. And, for good reason, right? Like the interchangeability of parts is already great. And the fact that you can shove a graphics card into a PC the
expandability is pretty paramount, right? If you want to put another drive in there, you can totally do that, right?
And the performance is just, you can't get this kind of stuff on a console. Not even the PS Pro can hold a candle to the 5080,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, so there are benefits, but you pay for those benefits, and right now we're paying for it extra with this whole RAM craziness.
I guess so.
Not a fan.
Anyway, you can catch all of these and other great topics as they unfold over on our Lemmy, or our subreddit, or our news channel on Discord. So, Lemmy feeds our news channel on Discord automatically. And so
you can't escape the Lemmy, is what Dan is saying.
You really can't. And like that. So we publish stuff there, and you get it there first. I mean, within milliseconds, basically, but you get it there first. And you get the feed right to your face.
As long as AI isn't ruining that too. Which,
oh my word.
It kind of is.
Yeah. So I need to do some work on that. But anyway, I've been a little better as of the last few weeks or so, getting some of those things published, so you can catch them a little quicker.
You have, I haven't.
That's okay. We help each other, and so yeah, and like all these articles, they end up there usually, and they turn into topics on the show. So that's the place to go catch it. That's lemmy.linuxuserspace.show is where you catch that, and obviously Reddit is linuxuserspace.show/Reddit, and Discord is linuxuserspace.show/Discord. But we're on other social things too: Mastodon, Telegram, Matrix, Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky. There's more, and so you just sub in that name at the end of linuxuserspace.show, and you'll get there.
Ta-da! All right, so we promised last episode, which we promised the prior episode, that we were going to talk about some feedback, and so we finally did it. We finally brought some feedback to the table. We have a few different topics, and one that we were supposed to talk about last time, we'll talk about first this time.
Yes.
Just so we don't run out of time. But Daniel from Fireside. So if you want to send an email to us like this, it's contact@linuxuserspace.show if you want to email it to us. Or you can go to Fireside, click on the contact button, and just fill out all the stuff. You can stay semi-anonymous that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Said, I wanted to let you know, and by the way, this is a response to us talking about like rolling our own distribution and playing with the immutables and all that stuff. But he said, I wanted to let you know that you can create your own immutable distro as you wish using Fedora Boot C as a base and building it using container tools. Container tools help to build and transport the image, and then once installed, it will work like any other immutable OS. I have published an example using the KDE environment here, and he left us a link to his KDE Boot C immutable distro buildy thing. And so I say it that way because I'm not very at this. So
okay.
But for the longest time, we've been joking, I think, for the most part.
Because we don't really want to do all of the maintenance things behind it. Yeah.
Right. But the more I see how automated something like that can be, the more it goes from like 99% joke to 96% joke. And so I'm not saying the needle's moving a lot, but it's moving a little bit. And I just think it would be kind of fun that no one should ever use it, but I think it would be kind of fun to have like a Linux user space OS or something and just have the tools that, I don't know. I mean, what would it be? Like that me and you, Dan, use all the time? Or would we just bundle them all in and we could put plocate back on?
You could put it back on.
that was I think that was the episode this comment came from, because I was lamenting that plocate wasn't going to be in the Fedora immutable images. Yeah,
and you can
put it back. We have another comment, by the way, down at the bottom, more about that. But yeah, like that's the thing, is that I guess that's kind of my aversion to immutable OSs, though I fully embrace the immutable lifestyle. That's what I run daily. That's what's going on back here. If you can see in I don't know this camera, I can't see that camera, but
that's what's right here in front of me, right?
The screen back there is Bluefin. So I'm fully immutable these days. But the thing that I try not to do is mess with layering. I don't want to do that, right? Like
I try not to do that too much either. Mostly installing the Flatpaks for things, applications wise. Right. And if I can't do that, then I might do homebrew.
Right. And that's exactly how I try to handle it, right? I'm not trying to mess with or layer things on top of the image, but that's kind of the beauty of, like, if you did roll your own, you wouldn't have to mess with layering. You could make it part of the base image to sidestep all of that weirdness, right? Because layering makes updating take forever, right? Like,
it takes longer.
Yeah, because then it has.
There's already some, like, I'm using Aurora, so there's already some layers on it, if you will. And so it already, some of those things do take a little longer.
Yeah.
As is, and I just don't want to mess with that necessarily. I guess the other alternative is DistroBox too. If
Mhm.
if you wanted to sidestep things that way too, that's another way.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pretty sure DistroBox can reach out wherever you allow it to reach out, right? So I mean, you could say, "Look at my home," and then
it's got access to your home. Yeah,
maybe that's what I do. I just need an Arch like base container in DistroBox.
Sure.
Just to install plocate on, because I can keep it like super slim.
Oh, yeah. Well, that probably wouldn't look at your whole machine, but it would look at your home directory, which might be just fine.
Yeah. All I needed to look at is my home directory, because I just need to find this file that I know that I created. I'm pretty sure I know what it's called or whatever, but I forgot where I put it. And I don't know why I did that, but I did that. And yeah, so
I guess that could work. Yeah.
So Daniel, you're responsible for about call it a 3% shift in perception of whether we may or may not create a Linux user space operating system for all of the listeners of this show. You know what we do is, just part of the image, we just like add the next episode. And so here's what we do. Okay, here's what we do. So we only do updates once every approximately 2 weeks, so that whenever you rebase to a new base that has the latest episode loaded up in the audio player that we have. And so when you launch the audio player, it immediately plays the latest episode. See, that way.
So it's got to be like XMMS or something like that we can skin?
Yes. And it needs to have like the play buttons are just like different versions of our faces, right? Like us looking left to be back, and then us looking right to be forward, and then a play, yeah, we gotta do the whole thing. Maybe with our hands we do the.
Oh,
this is why you need to be on the video so you can see my stupid face. But this is it. This is why we want to do this, man. That way it's a tie-in to the show, and then whenever that becomes the most installed Linux operating system of all time, we're also the most listened to Linux podcast of all time as well. See, it all is coming together, Dan. I've got a master plan. We're going to make this work.
Okay. Well, make sure to @Leo with all your great suggestions here.
That's right. Actually, yes, do that. Let me know where exactly in the file system these audio files should be. Should it just be in your home folder in music? It's not a music, though. Would be my rebuttal to that.
Well, you can't really put them in your home directory if you're splatting these down from the image, right?
Oh, true. Okay, so maybe we'll call it VAR Podcast.
Oh, there's a good one.
Because it changes, man.
It would be variable.
God, yeah. No, we'll just put a script that it just downloads all the podcasts. That's what we'll do.
Oh, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, see, but because that way we get the numbers. We get the telemetry on the back end, right? See, and really what'll end up happening is that we know how many Linux user space OS installs there are by how many podcast downloads we have.
Downloads.
See?
We could track them
telling
together.
You.
The telemetry would go together, and it's mostly anonymous.
Mostly. We have your IP, though, I guess, probably. Nah, see, we would have that anyway, because you're calling into GitHub or something.
And that could be your VPN. We don't care.
That's also very true. Yeah. Okay, so Shemage, 2210 says, and this is also on the plocate thing, is if I know what the file name is, I don't need a command line utility to find it. Files I need said tools to find are ones I don't know what I randomly called it, nor do I remember when I named it, but for some reason think I had something somewhere, etc., etc. And yeah,
you're kind of right.
I see. I don't know, because I think I have a very good, I name stuff very straightforward. Like, if it has to do with something, like an episode of this show or something like that, right? Like,
you named it LUS something.
Yeah, I know there's a 605 in there. And so I'll look for 605 and then, scroll, that's a log. But then I'll be like, oh, cool, yeah, because in my home folder, there it is. And yeah, so You're mostly right because I definitely have those files too that I have named just like I don't know what I want to name it, just blah 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 blah, and then I'll come back to it later. I won't forget, and then I obviously forget.
There's yeah. It's pretty right. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where like the fuzzy matching will come in, and that's where you win, Dan, with your whole K-runner-ness.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think, there's other tools. They're not command line tools necessarily, but all of them anyway. Yeah, K-runner's a good one. I would say like Albert, if you're into that launcher, that probably could search some things. And honestly, right there in Dolphin, I mean, that's pretty great to search stuff up. As is, all of the there's the LXQt has knockoff, if you will, or earlier forks.
I'm going to tell him you said that. Wow.
Nah, I think fork is the right term. It actually are fork from the early versions of K-Runner. LXQt Runner is basically K-Runner early, and as is the file manager PCMan.
That's going to be the headline.
It's got some forkiness to it as well, and so you can do all those searching things right in your file manager, right in your launcher, that sort of stuff. I think that's going to
be the headline, though, by the way. Dan says, LXQT K-Runner, great value. And for those that don't live in the U.S., that's the knockoff, like, Walmart brand for everything.
Well, it's a rollback, okay?
Yeah, we're rolling you back, okay? Yeah, so I think that's the answer. I mean, I think we kind of mentioned it, that was the answer as well. Then is that you really just need some kind of launcher. But I will say, K-Runner is command line light because you can run commands.
You can do commands right in the thing, yeah.
Right, so it's kind of like a gateway drug to the command line, right? So I mean, you're like, oh wow, system control power off, wow, and then you're doing just weird little janky things like that, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, console, what's this? And then the whole world is your oyster, and now you understand why everybody's like, well, just open up the terminal, step one. Yeah, okay, that's not actually why they say that, but you might be inclined to open up the command line more often. Because there's a lot of power under there.
That's cool.
Well, yeah, you can also break stuff. Yeah, that's the downside.
Well, that's a bad rabbit hole.
But you can't learn properly unless you break it.
That's true.
That's kind of the beauty of the immutables too, is that it's, I won't say unbreakable. It's not unbreakable, but you have to really try to break it. And even when you break it, you can roll back. It's super easy.
There's a rollback,
way cool, way easy. So I think that's you're right, chômage. I don't know. I know I'm getting it wrong. I said it like 4 different ways, so I'm sure I got it right one way. But yeah, I think you're right. I think just a fuzzy matcher, kind of maybe like a K-Runner or a Albert, is really kind of the answer for stuff like that. I don't know, and it's just because I've used plocate for so what, and I don't even think it was plocate the whole time. I think it was the command I used was locate, right? But I think it's gone through a few iterations.
It has
over time.
It's been aliased a couple of times.
Right. So just being able to use the locate command, I guess, is what I'm lamenting, and it was more it's old
better
man.
Than find. Find is like got weird context that goes with it.
And you need, and like if you're getting specific, now you bring regex in here, and regex is quite literally the language of the old gods. And if you do regex correctly, you can summon Cthulhu. So you got to be careful.
And if you don't, you're not summoning anything that's useful.
Yeah, it's like 0 results. What do you mean? I spent 45 minutes on that regex.
Exactly.
Oh man. So the next one was from, and again, I'm sorry, Ewan, or my guess is actually Ewan, but
ewanmarshall?
Ewan?
Ewan?
Ewan. It could be Ewan.
Marshall.
Right. From YouTube on our Windboat deep dive, said, Winboat asks in the setup whether to give it access to the file system with a massive warning about exactly this issue. Okay, so this I didn't know. This is very much a the plot thickens kind of situation, man. So just a quick recap. Someone said they installed Winboat, had to use some free RDP, PPA jazz to get the newest version so that Winboat would work, and then blamed Winboat for downloading a virus onto his apparently not even fully installed Windows VM, which then did this little hop, skip, and a jump to his Linux machine and then infected his Linux machine with ransomware. Therefore, all of his files are gone. Right? That's the story. None of it actually happened that way.
Right.
They just got a virus and blamed it on something else.
It's really Windows' fault.
Well, see, I think we have to take that back because the Windows wasn't actually fully installed, it turns out.
Yeah, but
so, well,
I don't know how much Windows is enough Windows to get a virus.
that's actually kind of true, right? Your intent was to install Windows, therefore you deserved it. But I think our conclusion that Winboat and FreeRDP are in the clear, 100% true.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
But this is actually again the plot thickens kind of situation. Yeah. So it told you that it actually gave you the choice first of all, but it straight up told you that these kinds of weird little things can happen.
Well, if you looked at their GitHub page, it actually said some of this stuff is still beta. It's not even.
Yes.
This isn't a full release yet. So
it's new.
Dragons beware. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, exactly, and I mean, it flew onto our radar because of the free RDP thing, because of the whole free RDP gave me a virus, Winboat gave me a virus, whatever thing. And I mean, I'm thankful for that. I'm not thankful for the damage both projects took.
No,
but I am thankful for the hullabaloo because now we know about this really cool thing that'll allow us to run Windows applications.
Winboat before. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things that we said in the episode, though, was, and I can't remember. I attributed it to Dan because Dan's a smart guy. But the idea that containers in general, all Docker containers, whatever, should explicitly not advertise globally, listen globally for connections. And by globally, I mean on every network card you have, on every IP address that you have on that system, right? And most containers
they have separate
do that.
Networks. Most of those containers have separate networks that you can kind of do some of those restrictions on them right out of the gate.
Right. And so, again, I'm pretty sure it was Dan, but Dan said maybe just restrict it to listening to 127.0.0.1, right? Listening locally only. No one on the outside would be able to access 127.0.0.1 because their 127.0.0.1 is them, and your 127.0.0.1 is you. So it really, it's just a loop back, right? It comes right back to you.
Which is kind of how you want it to work because the free RDP thing is only connecting to the local thing on your machine.
Exactly. So, that's exactly how you want it to work. You don't want Windows listening out to the wider internet. And one of the other issues that this guy was running into was that he was exposing his entire machine, his entire Linux machine that just happened to run Winboat directly to the internet with no firewall. Not
apparently no router, no NAT, no nothing, just right out there on the internet.
That was what I was going to clarify too, right? No nothing. There, even NAT gives you some, and I don't want to call it a firewall, but it gives you some basic firewall-ish kind of protection.
The direct connection's not quite there. Yeah.
No, and depending on the Linux that you're running, I didn't dig into it or whatever. There's no firewall running by default.
Default, yeah, most of them don't.
Right. So, it got fishy real fast. But, so that was one of the suggestions that we made during that episode was just listen locally. And lo and behold, that was one of the changes they made in the past couple of weeks. So, I'm really glad. I mean,
well, I'm a lot more optimistic for when this does finally get released as a thing that success will happen. Yeah.
Yes. Stole the words right out of my mouth. It shows that Winboat is going to be a responsive steward
this thing
that can potentially be dangerous. We said, the episode was named Attack of the 50-Foot Guns.
Yeah.
because there are so many foot guns that are baked into
fully loaded. Yep.
Doing things like, yes, you could just run a VM. I know that was a suggestion on one of the comments was a suggestion of just run a VM. But there are applications that do better having more direct access to the hardware, right? So
and probably less overhead, right?
Also, well, it is a VM itself, so kind of.
I don't know. It's stripped down a lot, though. So
true.
I gotta believe it's. Well, we'll see what performance tales tell at some point.
So now that we see that Winboat's going to be a good steward of this software, I'm much more inclined to really dive in and give it a try.
Yeah, same. I'm optimistic.
Like, what's funny is that, like, anytime I use Windows, I just use open source software anyway. So I don't really have a good use case to use Winboat for, because
it's very few and far between.
Yeah, what would I do? Just install Windows so I can run GIMP. Or Kden Live. Wow, I could just do that on Linux. Yeah, so really cool either way. But I think more than anything else, it's just good to see that Winboat is going to be responsive. It's a good team.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's looking good. It's looking really good. So just another notch in the belt of you can do that on Linux.
Absolutely.
So last bit of feedback is from Michael Chalmers on YouTube. So this is on the, we were talking about during our 2-hour foray into
live stream that we did,
dealing with Cosmic and playing around with it. And that one time that guy was like, it was 15 minutes, nothing happened. Yeah, okay, man. But he said of the encryption thing, quick recap of that. In Pop! OS, using Cosmic, when you go through the installer, it will it only prompts you for one password, and it will encrypt your hard disk with that password and also let that be your user password to log in with, right? And we said generally that was a good thing because people are bad at passwords. And I mean,
too many passwords, not going to remember. Yeah.
Right. And that's not an opinion. That is
that's fact.
Oh man.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So anyway, so now with that context, here's what the comment was. 2 passwords are better because if you have 2 users, you don't want the other user to have access to your password just to unlock an encrypted hard drive. Bad idea.
Very true. That's a true statement. I'll acquiesce to that. That's 100% correct.
And so Michael Murphy of System 76, I think kind of said what we were thinking. And the reason why we kind of held our opinion, which was that most people it's just like one user on the machine. So having 2 users with 2 separate passwords, encrypting the hard disk or whatever, is already kind of not the most widest use case.
Yeah, probably not.
But you also kind of run into this situation where the second user would have had to have known the first user's password for that to even really be a problem.
Well, hear me out. Here's a scenario where you could make this not work. I think you could do the install, whatever. You got one password, does both. You could change one of them, and then you're all set, right? Because then you can add your other user. Because you don't add 2 users out of the gate when you do the install. It's not set up to do that.
Right.
But the other thing is physical access is usually a game over sort of thing anyway. And so if you're already decrypting the drive, you've got some level of trust with the other user to begin with.
Exactly.
So
that is the point.
Hopefully you can work through some of these logistics, if you will, without totally disclosing all, everything, right?
Exactly. So I mean, if you're really worried about that second user, then they shouldn't have an account on your machine. But let's say they do have an account on your machine, right? Like if you don't want them using it, then just reboot it. That way you're stuck at the you need the password to be able to unlock your hard drive kind of situation. But yeah, I mean, once you add a
Just
second
change
user
one.
to
Yeah.
the mix, you're already giving them an implicit amount of trust. And if you have any reason to distrust that second user, then no. Don't put anything important on your machine at all, because as Dan said, once you're at the login screen, the disk is unencrypted.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't matter how you got there. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So I don't know.
I think you could though. Like I said, I think you just run through the installer. You change your password on your account. So you've got the drive encryption password. You can share that at that point because it's not your password to your account.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess that's kind of it, right? Like, I don't disagree that 2 passwords are better. I agree that is true. I just don't think the second user part is that.
Yeah, because
that's a totally separate issue.
I think you got to take that extra step of changing your password when you add the other user, right?
Yeah, definitely. So the we even actually talk about that, right? Like we agreed when we were putting that together in the first place that single password thing was less secure. And,
right.
I mean, Dan got it right. I mean, if you care enough that they actually do need to be separate passwords, then you can just go change it. That's the path forward for that. Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, you can catch all the links at linuxuserspace.show. And if you want to email us, that's contact@linuxuserspace.show, or you can go to linuxuserspace.show/contact.
So next time, okay, so the thing I'm about to say is probably not going to happen next time, but it is
sometime
something
soon.
I want to put it on your radar. Okay, so we were talking before the show. Yeah, good. We were talking a little bit before the show that we still want to do the KDE Linux thing, but KDE Linux is still in an alpha. So if we do something like that, it may be on a live stream just to kind of poke at it, see if we can make it explode or whatever. But I don't want to give it the full cosmic treatment because it's not near ready. So alpha is like, we're still a ways out. Like we're testing things are broken, we need to fix those things or whatever. Once we start getting into the mid to later beta stage, that is really when I want to kick the tires on the thing, because that late beta stage is the time where they're like, it's gonna become release soon, so if you're concerned at all, come kick the tires and see if it's gonna work for you or not. That's really when I want to hone in on doing the KDE Linux thing. But here's the other thing that just happened. We've talked about for quite a long time, not just on the history side, but just having fun with it, FreeBSD, or just doing a BSD at all. But FreeBSD just had themselves a major release. FreeBSD, FreeBSD 15 came out, what was it? As of this recording, 2 days ago.
Yeah, I was going to say this week.
Yeah, so by the time y'all hear this, about a week ago, it came out, which means that all the latest and greatest, the BSD kernel, this and that, and all the stuff, all the hardware, all the support, everything's ready to go. It's probably Plasma. I don't know. Is it? Probably.
They have Plasma. They do have Plasma.
So FreeBSD was the place where they did the Wayland testing on the Plasma thing. So when the new Plasma comes out, you'll be able to get the FreeBSD Wayland thing going, and there you'd still be on the forefront of all the software, so you'd be able to use the KDE Plasma.
Yeah, absolutely, which is amazing.
Yeah, so
I think we're going to poke at that,
that might be an interesting thing to do, just in general. So not just FreeBSD, but FreeBSD with Plasma on Wayland. Whoa. Cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun experiment.
But I'm telling you, Linux dragging FreeBSD, kicking and screaming into the future. You're going to use Wayland whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Maybe. But okay, so next time, we'll be looking at doing FreeBSD. Definitely want to look into some of the news, see how people are getting along with it or whatever. We didn't follow the release or anything with it, so we didn't catch it in beta or anything like that. But something that we want to put on our radar, and we'll be looking at it more and more in the future. But next time, the next episode, we'll have ourselves a few more topics and all that kind of fun stuff, and we'll dive into more things.
I think we got to dive into more cosmic Leo, because by the time next time happens, it'll be like out and released, so it might be like our final look at it, after the, for the show this season, because it'll be out there for everybody. We've got some other cosmic news too that I think we'll break. It's not really breaking news, but we'll talk about, for the next time.
This show, as it exists, cannot be breaking news.
No, we don't do that.
The turnaround time is too long, man. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work.
I haven't heard anybody else talk about it, so we could still scoop the topic, even though it's not breaking news.
True. So, Dan, what we have to do is get you an @KC2BEZ at TikTok. And then you just do the tall videos. Like as news stories come in from Lemmy to Discord, as they pop in, you go live. And then
there's open source federated things for that.
That's
too?
right. What's it called? Not PixelFed. It's the other one.
PixelFed is like Instagram.
Yes, correct.
Loops.
Yes. So maybe okay. Put the 1 to 3 minute videos on loops.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, don't stress, because
don't
strain yourself, man. But
right?
Yeah, for sure, that might actually be something kind of cool. You know what's not happening over on loops right now? 1 to 3 minute videos of breaking news in Linux. That's what's not happening.
Yeah,
right
of course not.
You want to be on the forefront.
Well, I mean, we could.
That's it. All right.
We'll see what I can do.
Okay. All right. No pressure, man. But in between shows and in between all of Dan's posts on loops, catch us on Twitter, Mastodon, Telegram, Matrix, Discord. Also PixelFed. I should probably post that RAM picture over on PixelFed and all that stuff. There's also Blue Sky. So wherever you find us, we're all over the place. Give us your suggestions. Drop them on the subreddit. Put them in the Lemmy. Whatever you want to do. There's the user space over on the Lemmy, right? There's a place just for this kind of thing. But whatever you do, join.
Things. Yeah.
Yes. So however you do it, join the conversation, talk to us, give us ideas. All the links that you've heard about in today's episode are in the show notes, also in the comments or the description of the YouTube video down below. So go find those. If you're not on the YouTube video, you can find them at linuxuserspace.show, this episode /605. So in the meantime, in between episodes, Dan, where can we find you?
You can find me on Mastodon at KC2BZ at mastodon.social. You can find me on Blue Sky, monetary-abyss.social.
It sounded like you were about to throw KC2BEZ in there.
I was going to throw an @, in there, but
Oh, okay.
It's not really necessary. You get the idea.
That's right. That is true. Same for me. So at Leo Chavez at mastodon.social over on the Mastodons, and at Leo Chavez over on the Blue Sky. You can find the show at Linux User Space at mastodon.social, as well as at Linux User. You said don't do the @ and I did the @ linuxuserspace.show. Yeah, the end at over on Blue Sky. Man,
Blue Sky. That's it.
I really enjoy the way they. I know it's because Twitter started the whole @ thing.
I know.
And then Mastodon kind of made it mandatory, and then there's 2 @s. So you're saying
there's
like
2
@
there, yeah.
Yeah, it's not Star Wars, but you're saying @ and
I know.
Then you got the Blue Sky where you don't really got to have the @ but it's still there
because
there's only one, and you can't be anyway. It's a lot of @s. You can find us at all of those places. So in the meantime, just find us in those places. And come back in 2 weeks this time, for real this time. Last time was 3, but 2 weeks this time for more Linux User Space. I don't know if that ending could have been any more chaotic than
It's
that.
a little clunky, but we got it.
I'm leaving it in there. I'm leaving it all in. It's just going to stay. This is just how it is. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
See y'all.
That's one of the things that I really, really dislike about that conversation, is because everybody will go in and be like, oh, we trained the model. No, you didn't. You gave it 3 sets of instructions
I know.
that are supposed to be baked into its what do you call that? Basically, when you're a grocery store attendant and you must answer all questions in this and that. That's not training it.
No,
that is
setting
trying
the scene.
Yeah, it's like narrowing the scope of where its answer should be, but it's absolutely 100% going to not do that sometimes.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Yeah, but so they'll go into this conversation. Like, yeah, we trained a model. No, you didn't. Stop using that word. You don't know what it means. No, you didn't.
What you fed it is like so minuscule as far as what it's trained on. It probably didn't move a needle at all.